week in the Tech Boy podcast. We have so much to get to today. Presidential and vice presidential candidates' phones have been hacked. I suggest that maybe we should go back to the President Obama phones, back when he was president in 2008. Um, a popular person who's Christian, I think, named Russell Brand, is saying that uh, some amulet can protect him from the Wi-Fi radio waves that are supposedly evil and trying to kill him. Of course, I'm a tech blogger and I had to investigate those claims. Guess what? They're fake, by the way. Also, we are back returning to X and um, live streaming to X after we got premium. So great, thank you. So we have so much to get to today. So let's get to this story from THM News. THM News is the application that uh, Twitchy, Red State, all those news services are shown there, and I think it's a really good application. Maybe right behind Not to Be, maybe even better. Speaking of Not to Be, we will be returning to Not to Be Friday, November 1st. Maybe about 3 o'clock. So on the live stream. So the Be Tuned to Normal VC. Wow, we already have 2 people watching. Wow, let's see what the let's invite. Let's see if we have any chat. Let me check the chat. No, okay. The Be Tuned to Normalcy. Wait a second. Am I one of the people watching since I'm on the I don't know. Anyway, be tuned to Norm BC. So let's get to RTM News. Not RTM, THM. RTM something different. THM News. Trump and Vance had their phones targeted by Chinese hackers. Hot air. And then this person writes it. And here's the key context here. So this is from the NSA's Technology Museum, and these are some of their secure hardened phones. And what's also not on the screen is the Boeing Black, which the Boeing Black looks like the government tried to make a phone, but then they kind of like stalled out in 2012, but then they released it in 2014. But they still use 2012 technology and stuff like that. But the article is obviously not that important. You guys can go check it out yourself. Um, it's pinned to the profile. But I think we should probably get back to NSA hardened phones, or maybe even the Boeing Black. So if you guys don't know what the Boeing Black is, it's a really interesting phone because it's 10 years old, but it self destructs in a good way. I mean, Boeing is great at self destructing technology, but this phone is actually supposed to self destruct by itself. So here's the Wikipedia listing for it. Speaking of Wikipedia, we had a lot of tech headlines from the TechBoy.org today talking about the purpose of computers and how it's changed over times, and it's kind of sad because you think that computers have evolved and changed over time. Now everything's like online and using web applications and stuff like that. And I actually talked about that yesterday online. And it's kind of sad because like the things that we actually have on my computer here. I mean, even if I just look at the pinned applications, I mean, sure we got Word and then some Word clone. Get off of it, Ant. This is what we get for doing this outside. Uh, and then hit film, which is okay. Most of these applications are either online or just basically default computer applications like calculator, notes, AI. I guess that's basic computer application now. But this is the Boeing Black, and this could be a phone that they give out to people here. So it's a secure Android smartphone, actually built by Boeing and BlackBerry Limited for the United States government and military defense communities. I guess the president could also use this as uh, military commander for some war, for some peace, for some hearts of the countrymen and all that. But there should be a picture of the Boeing Black here. Hopefully I can show you on the screen. Yeah, here it is. So, like I said, this phone came out in like 2014, but of course it's using 2012-esque technology because once they get the chips hardened and everything like that, they don't want to introduce any new vulnerabilities or battery life issues or whatever by using the same chips. That's why government computers and technology is still stuck on Windows XP because uh, XP's been tested for them. Yes, worms can get through, but they might enact more bugs if they were to update to who knows, Vista, of like from when I was born. Who knows? Um, but yeah, that's the Boeing Black right there. We have the technology right. Wow, 4 people are already watching the podcast. That's impressive, especially since we have no chats coming in right now. No chats. Let me see if make sure that the chat is working. I sent out a shout out over YouTube. So I hope you guys can see this on the screen. Just checking, make sure people are listening. Yeah, that's the Boeing Black. The specifications are not that good, but data can be um, self-destructed if the phone is tampered with. You know, phones have basically been used for some of the same stuff for the past 10 years. Uh, Twitter, writing, stuff like that. So it shouldn't be too hard to get some government officials to use that as well. But technically he's a private citizen, so maybe they wouldn't hand these out to him, or they might declassify them because you want those phones to be handed out amongst random people, just running around and stuff like that. So maybe you might want to do Samsung Galaxy S24. It's the newest version. It's a Samsung phone. They're really good. They should be uh, totally immune from. No, I want to stop screen sharing. Restream is not as good as. There we go. They should be totally immune from hacking, right? The Samsung Galaxy S24, right? Best phone. Updated to October, maybe even no September, maybe even October. A security patch, right? And sure, it can do some of the same stuff as the Boeing Black, but it S24 is more secure, right? No. Well, technically yes, but at some tech hacking event conference that they're using to get like a bug bounties or something like that. Someone found a vulnerability in here that's very bad, very bad. Um, it is able to get an application. They're able to exploit uh, the phone to run an application on it that wasn't supposed to be on there. Now, I didn't find out if it was on auto blocker, so hopefully it's on auto block. Hopefully it's not on auto blocker, because if it's not on auto blocker, then this can be this vulnerability of Samsung phones, just like me. If you have auto blocker, run, so only run applications from the Play Store. But assuming this is only from auto blocker, to exploit some unknown vulnerability, Samsung has 90 days to patch it before they tell us about it. On the PWM stands for like own, so I guess it's the own to own. Day two, the security team was able to exploit a bug, 5 bugs from NCC Group, including path traversal to exploit the Samsung Galaxy S24, and they gained $5,000. And according to Bleeping Computer, that's a good website, so probably bookmark this. His exploit allowed him to install an app and gain shell access to the popular Android device. And as you guys know, there are lots of spyware and malware applications on available for Android devices. I mean, we don't even have to go into that. On October 7th, 2023, I was talking about how parental control applications are essentially malware. I mean, they can have access to your location, your microphone, your calls, your call log, your text, everything that you type, everything like that. I mean, if you took the name parental control out of that, it would be classified as malware. And of course, they have malwares like this that um, they have malwares like this that not good at the software. There we go. They have malwares like this that are available and you can get for free, like Android Rat and stuff like that. So be sure to check that out. Make sure that everything is okay. I'm gonna check the audio level, so if I'm not just yapping into the void here. And then we'll get into the Russell Brand story. I find this really interesting. I did some investigative research on this story. And then speaking of investigative research, I guess we can get more into the SSA LT. Oh my gosh, I look terrible on X. Oof. Let me see what we look like here, people. It is buffering. So okay, well at least you guys can hear me. Okay. So let's get into the Russell Brand story. Apparently he's like a famous person for something or some other. So I need to find the article myself. I forgot what it was called. What was he doing? Oh, I'll just search for the word scam. Let's see. Um, I have to go into advanced search. One thing that Grok is good for is being able to search through seats a little bit. It's not as good as advanced search, but it is good for pulling up stuff like that. But he's shilling for a scam company and I investigated the claims. And the claims that they made were wrong, like completely wrong. And uh, let's see if I can find it. Yes, Tech EMF. Here it is. Hope you guys can see this on the screen. Lots of people read this actually, so I'm very glad about that. You guys cannot see this on the screen yet, so let me put it side by side. There we go. Air's Tech EMF at Air's Life Tune is a scam. They claim to be peer reviewed and have studies. I checked the studies. They have one patent, not even in the study. And the studies are hosted as a Shopify PDF. They claim that the studies were done by the Planetary Association of Clean Energy Incorporated, which is a Canadian nonprofit with no studies linked to their webpage and no organizations verifying their authenticity. The technology behind the stickers is not explained. You can't just say gold, EMF, diffraction, nanotechnology, buyer beware. All right, so Russell Brand um, was promoting the Aerostech EMF. And I actually went behind the scenes and tried to see what the Aerostech EMF things did, because it actually did something interesting. They called all their competitors scams, and they said, we are not scammers. We are EMF detection technologies. We even have studies that back us up. Right, so I went on and they had the studies linked. And hope you guys can see this is their website on the scam online. You can even see that it's getting reported as a scam likely right here. So go away. But you can see what they have here. They have those stupid phone stickers, and they were saying that somehow the smart EMF nanotechnology on the sticker was able to filter out what the important signals were on to make calls and receive data, and filter out the evil signals that are trying to brain control you or something like that. And then you have the amulets and I don't know what these are, large area protectors and stuff like that. So Russell was promoting this necklace thingy as he was speaking into a wireless microphone, which an irony that NTV picked up on. It was very funny. But let's see what the studies say. Of course, I have lots of happy customers. Of course, you don't even know if they're real. But let's go over to the. It says based on public research and studies, right? They talk about these studies a lot. They talk about how they're not scams and stuff like that. So you might think, uh oh, can you see? Oh, so you guys might think that there we go. You guys might think, wow, these people are legitimate. They have studies. They even have a blog post up about how legitimate they are. They talk about EMFs and stuff like that. It's pseudoscience. EMFs are not dangerous. They're not controlling your brain and stuff like that. Um, so they go on and on and on and on. Yeah, so here are the studies here. They even link some studies. I have a 2017 study, a 2015 study, and these might be some real studies here, but we want to see the studies about how their technology works here as well, because you can pick and choose technology about you can pick you can pick and choose studies about from people from actual studies as well, but their studies, and I want to see if they're still online. Yes, they still have their X account up online. Their studies were linked as Shopify CDN PDFs, right? And you might think that, wow, Shopify CDN PDFs, right? Isn't that interesting? Because uh, y- and I was thinking about this. I was thinking about trying to give them the benefit of the doubt um, on how their studies are, actually legitimate and how they actually work. I was thinking, well, some of those journals, Nature and stuff like that. If you want to access the studies, they cost money. So, maybe they pay for the study and they're just giving it to you for free as a PDF or as a Shopify on the Shopify CDN. So I did what any sane and rational person would do. I looked it up. I looked up the studies on uh, over on Google Scholar. Google Scholar is a search engine for finding uh, studies and research articles and journals. You use it a lot when you're trying to do some high level research. I mean, I think it's one of the best things that Google's done. It kind of looks old, kind of has the old Google interface. But if these studies are real, they'd be published in actual journals. Guess what? Not a single journal. The only thing I found when I searched for them online the was when their patent came up. And guess how many patents they had? One. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Here are the studies. They're supercomputer simulations and the effective range. I mean, don't these studies look real? Like, oh, wow, they have lots of typing. It's in the right font. They even have big long words. I mean, they have lots of studies linked to it. One, two, three, four, five. Man, I mean, if someone was coming here and saying, I don't know, do wild thing that, I don't know, your cell phone is not, killing you or controlling your mind or brain or something like that, you can just point to these studies and be like, nope. But the gold EMF nanotechnology is really saving me right here. You can go to the study, and guess what? It pops up as some random PDF here. It's 26 pages long. 26 pages long, and they even show you some nice, graphs of EMFs and stuff like that. And you might be like, can you guys see this on the screen? Yes, you can. Okay, you might be like, wow, wow, how realistic, how legitimate are these people? They even have a graph. If they were fake, would they have a graph? Eh, they'd be like, would you have a graph if you were a fake company, right? So I went over into Google Shodan, not Shodan, uh, Google. I forgot what it's Scholar, yeah. Um, there is an artificial intelligence. There's another, not Scholar, but alternative to it as well. It's actually good. So I might look for EOS Tech, or the company, because they're the ones who did these studies, and the names of the studies. I'm gonna have to close out of here. Um, this study is called Method for Protecting Biological Objects from the Negative Influence of electromagnetic radiation. So you go into Google Scholar, you type that in, you look for the articles, and what do you find? If this was a legitimate study, it'd be published in some science journal like American Science or something like that, American Nature, something like that. You see lots of links from it. You see legitimate science websites. I of course disagree upon evolution, but are respected. Are respected to be linking the study. Now, of course, that doesn't mean it's right, but that means it gives some credibility, it gives some validity. Because if you're gonna, I mean, anyone, I can write some random study. I can have Claude write me up some nice study about why grass is actually good for you to eat, and then I can base it off of King Nebuchadnezzar eating grass in the Bible and saying, well, he lived, and his name is long, so that's why you should eat grass. But guess what? Look at the study here. The only study here that's linked here is not even a study. This is the direct text, copied and pasted directly from the Airs Tech website. It is a patent that they made back in 2022, where they patented their thing. I mean, anyone can patent something. I mean, I guess you couldn't really prove that it didn't work. I mean, but it is only one thing. And let's listen to to how they describe this patent. It's a U.S. patent application. Patent application. Anyone can apply for a patent if they have enough money. So these things probably don't even have patents because it's a piece of wood with plastic in it. I don't know how you patent that. It's a child's toy. I mean, they have these little graphs here and stuff like here. So it was applied in 2019. It was assigned to the company. It's been published to the thing to some here on Google Scholar, and it's still pending. And guess what? It's going to pin for a long time because they know it's going to fake. But right now, they can show these fake studies about how it works, and you can see any study on here. On this website, the computer simulation of the response of a semiconductor wafer with the soft fiend pattern in this form as a system coupled wing grooves to electromagnetic radiation was was presented on the 7th International Congress of International uh, Informational Communication Technology. They even went to some conference back there, but back like what I said on the sheet back 2 weeks ago maybe. What did I say to these people? I said that the corporation that they kind of like file under or whatever is fake, or not fake. They have a website, but they claim to be around since 1975, but they have no studies linked even on their own website, not even the fake Shopify studies that they have online, and they have uh, no external links to anything. So please bear aware of this company and don't listen to Russell Brand saying you that Wi-Fi is evil. And look, here's another study that I found here on Google Scholar. It's the same really long computer simulation on the response of the semiconductor wafer with self-refined pattern study. And guess what? You have one source here, and it's filed by the same people. And is it even a study? Wow, one study here, people, linked to one paper, and it costs 25. Oof. $29. And who is Springer Nature Link? Are they a legitimate journal? Let's go in and investigate. Quote, Springer Link has an wait, that's not even the same thing. It appears that Springer Nature Link is a it's not saying. Oh wow, I just got it. I just got a alert from my antivirus from being on this website. So maybe it's not legitimate, but we'll have to look into this. But I don't see any stipulations on how you apply stuff here. What's open access publishing? Because it appears to be it appears to be that they are just allowing people to publish stuff willy nilly without, any peer review or anything like that. And if this thing was peer reviewed, you see more of that popping up in Google Scholar. But it's not peer reviewed because it's fake, it's a scam, and the Russell Brand, he may not know better. But I'm just telling you about this. This thing is a scam. Its research studies are either on linked to maybe one journal that is maybe or maybe not legitimate, maybe. And it also has one patent to its name that is going to pin, and it's going to pin for the rest of its life until it ends as well. All right, so that's what I have to say about that. All right, what else do we have to talk about today? Well, we talked about the Samsung vulnerability. We talked about the vulnerability in, the United States communications technology. China hacking into potential president and vice president's phones. So that's not a good thing. Of course, Iran also hacking into campaigns across the United States. Um, where were we? Oh yeah. So now let's go over to TheTechBoy.org, where we have lots of articles today. All right, so this week in the tech board, we talked about widget stacks on Samsung Galaxy One UI. You guys can check that out yourself. How to download motion photos on Samsung. Again, check that out. These are basically tutorial articles to help you do these things for your Samsung. And then I don't get internet culture. So let's get into this. Let's talk about this article right now. Hope you guys can see this on the screen. I don't get internet culture. Internet culture is kind of perpetrated throughout the internet on different forums and websites and responses and things of that nature. Um, it it sometimes it originates on Instagram, some meme sites, some Reddit threads and stuff like that. Some of these memes and stuff, I don't really get where they come from, how they propagate, because the truth of the matter is that in order to get something to go trending, to go viral, um, you know you have to have at least somewhat of a platform to get it started, right? Like we talked about a few weeks ago, the Ava update. Instagram has a problem with Ava update. I'm not going to play it here on stream, but you guys can go check it out. It's linked into the article. Where these people were just kind of like jumping around and not really doing much. They just had updates, and it kind of makes it hard for an artificial intelligence influencer who cannot move as of yet. Seeing as she's not real, about these people, these influencers who don't really do anything. They just kind of like move there. Maybe they're like fashion, but their fashion wasn't like linked to anything or anything like that. Is and they get multiple views. And of course, they're not the ones who are pushing the memes and the culture and stuff like that. If anything, they might be a reaction to some of the memes and the culture, might become the memes and the culture. Like that lady and the cat who points at the cat or something like that. I'm not aware if she's famous. No, she could be famous, but I'm not sure. Um, but here the article goes on to say, like, how is the TikTok songs and stuff like that? How's there a culture around these people, like people that kind of yap and jump around? Like how do they go viral? And some words that just co-opted, like say Riz, in which of course we co-opted for SSA LTW, but Riz didn't exist in 2021. No kids were going around quote unquote rizzing up people. some of the meme formats and stuff like that, of course, didn't exist before or Instagram or 2018 TikTok. Of course, I wasn't on TikTok, but this is just based on research. And then some of these people, they're not really adding value or discussing to society, and society reciprocates by killing them with some of the dumbest scandals, by revealing leaked text messages from when they were 14 or something like that, and they said something that they didn't like, and then I guess they got upset and mad or something like that, and then they get canceled, and they have all this fake fighting online. They have reaction channels and reaction Twitches and stuff like that. Like I said, for every one TikTok star, there are thousands of teens that have similar experiences and appearances, and one person goes viral. I mean, you can't tell me that lots of like I don't know preteen teenage girls on TikTok or doing the same dance videos, doing the same music, doing the same outfits. But, only some of them go viral. Like what's your name, Charlie D'Amelio or something like that. I don't know. Like only some of them go viral. Why is that? I mean, you can't be telling me that. Well, kid one here, their dance was a 6, and kid one here, their dance was a 7. So you know the 7 becomes famous, and the 6 becomes, I guess, irrelevant and obscure. No one really knows who they are. In fact, you might even be able to argue that sometimes the internet rewards people for being insanely dumb. I mean, like, there are lots of people who've gotten far in life by being insanely dumb or doing insanely stupid stuff or insanely, wrong stuff. So maybe even if your dance was worse than possible, then you might become famous. So an example of this would be that Australian girl Reagan, who instantly became, a meme, right? But like how? I mean, sure, her dancing was bad, but well, non-existent. But who started the first meme? Who started the memes and stuff like that as well? For jumping around like a kangaroo. And well, I guess he's kind of infamous, but he's kind of slightly famous. But, there's other people here who kind of like maybe trip and fall. Or Bookmonk. Bookmonk has been around, I don't know, 5 years according to my research. Um, 5 years according to my research, I think. And you know, can anyone tell me exactly what Bookmonk has done? Has anyone ever? I mean, I'm not in Bookmonk itself. I'm just naming someone. Like, but can you name one thing that Bookmonk has done other than like jump? I mean, like, who knew that you can become very famous just by jumping, or Lauren Aspen or something like that? I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here. And some of these people might be able to create memes or maybe disseminate them. And of course, some of them come from people who just, I guess, make them. Which also asks, like, if you go to say iFunny or something like that, where did the templates themselves come from? Where, like, some of them come from television shows, and you can see how those get popular in and of themselves because the television shows are over cable. If it's good, you get 14 million people to watch you. Um, you know, football, sitcoms, Wheel of Fortune or whatever. Of course, it's really easy to get people to watch that, but is it harder from like internet stuff because not everyone knows what that is? What do you guys think? What do you guys think about internet culture and things of that nature? All right, now let's get back to the topic of discussion. We have lots of stuff over from YouTube. Mr. Who's the Boss released a video, so let me put on my headphones. And we're going to talk about the Huawei triple folding phone. Of course, as you guys know, I hate Huawei, Chinese spy telecom company, and glad that they're banned from the United States of America. But they did release a triple folding phone, and MKBHD did a like sort of a review about it, not really full review, but a sort of review. And of course, I'm pretty sure he didn't sign in on his apps and services on there. And of course, Google apps and services don't work on there. They say that they have their own operating system that's going on, but it's really just ASOP with some stuff preloaded, on top. Which is sort of a problem for all these companies are like, wow, guys, we made our own operating system, a custom operating system, guys. A light phone cannot run any apps when the light phone is just an
Everyone who
overpriced
hates apps.
piece of junk that is just for people who cannot control their phone use. But even it can install APKs if you're smart enough. You can get through it.
Will be
All
using
right, here we
this
go. Let's
Chrome
get to the
extension
triple
by
four.
2025. I feel like I just found a Google cheat code. It's a Chrome extension.
This right here is the Huawei Mate
Lives
XT. I spent
in
over
lives in where's he live? UK. So technically, it's not banned in UK. I don't think. I don't think it's banned in UK. I'm not sure. But Google's an American company, so you can't get Android on the UK version anyway.
$5,000 to get one. It's the world's first triple folding phone. The thing is kind of mind-blowing. But as I've started to dig deeper, I've realized there is also something sinister going on with it. So this
I'm also wondering, like, yes, it's nice that you can have a triple folding phone, and it's good. You might be able to watch, some movie or a TV show or something on there. But is it really necessary? Like, can you guys tell me what? Remember, we go through most of the applications. What would what you will? Instagram, Reddit, TikTok, all these applications. Half of the applications are just for vertical scrolling. So half of the applications will just be used for the front display of this half of the screen. But use all this power, all this processing power, all this screen size, and the applications and games that we have available on Android is not that good. I mean, most of the applications are online, and that's it. So I don't really see the point of why, especially normies, would get a triple folding phone if they don't really do anything with the hardware that they already have. I mean, if you really look at folding phones, you know what Samsung does? They say like split screen, you maybe split screen email and stuff like that. That's nice, but of course, that's available on my phone right now. Speaking of, Ashley St. Clair, famous for Calendar Gate, Ashley St. Clair was actually online talking about she'd vote for anyone who mandates uh the split screen technology and split screen technology and a good battery on an iPhone. And I was like, and I present to you the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Ashley meet S24 Ultra. S24 Ultra meet Ashley. Because obviously we do not want the United States government to become like the European Union at all. The European Union sucks. Especially like how they're forcing lightning on. Wow, it is so hot outside. My phone screen is wet. Especially how they're forcing Lightning off of iOS devices. I wanted Lightning to stay on there, and until it was too old to die. And then of course, Android would have an advantage there as well. Speaking of Apple Intelligence, Apple Lens is apparently just Google Lens with a lot of glow, like Siri glow around it, which is kind of funny. So anyway, let's get back to the video.
This is how the thing comes presented. iPhone box for size reference. Lol. There's no doubt about it. This is absolutely incredible.
$5,000 is also a lot of money.
So, right on top, here are the Huawei FreeBuds 5. I gave these things a 7 out of 10 when I tested all the banned Huawei products. You got a car charger, 88 watts. Blimmin' heck, that's generous. But then, I suppose equally at the same time, this is the kind of experience that you would expect. Anyone who's willing to pay thousands of dollars for a first-generation product is a true fan, and Huawei needs to make sure that those fans are looked after.
I'd say that anyone who buys a Huawei phone right now is a true fan. Like, I wouldn't buy a Huawei phone if you paid me. I'd rather have no phone than a Huawei, and I'd rather have nothing than a Huawei. So, oh, I accidentally muted Mr. Who's the Boss. Okay.
The reason that very few people follow through and actually buy these folding phones, like the ones from Samsung, is price aside, if you want to make it usable while it's folded, it's got to be tall, like a phone. But then that means that when you open it, it's got to be square. And because videos and games are all didesigned to be widescreen, it barely makes your experience bigger than just using a normal phone. And so the only thing left for foldables is to be...
I just noticed that. I didn't really know that. Of course, that does give you some space to kind of like hold it. You have to prop up, you have the selfies, stuff like that. So that is nice. Also, you can zoom in. I think on some applications, YouTube, maybe Tubi. So if you're not afraid of losing some of the stuff, kind of like letterboxing on an old TV, then yeah, I'd go for it.
better at crazy multitasking. But that's niche, and just be honest, most people who could afford one of these already have a laptop or a proper tablet for that anyway. But that is
Yeah,
where
but who carries a tablet around in their pocket anyway?
this Huawei comes in. So you open once from here, and yeah, in this form it is basically the same as a normal foldable, aka pretty useless for most types of content. But look what happens when we open one more time. The extra width from this—
I mean, that's nice, but I mean, are phones supposed to be pocket like TVs? Is that what they're really, supposed to be? I guess that's a philosophical question. What do you guys think?
one extra fold is an absolute game changer. I mean, like, this is an iPad. It's widely considered one of the best devices for catching up with your movies on an airplane. But now we have a phone.
Speaking of, the new iPad Air 7X released this week.
That gives you practically the same viewable screen area when watching content, except this one folds into something resembling this. What year are we living in? And what Huawei has done to achieve this is actually just as cool. So this is Samsung's Z Fold 5, and when folded, it is 13.4 millimeters thick. Samsung's very latest is 12.1 millimeters. Huawei's triple folding phone is just 12.8. They've crammed in a whole extra layer. This is like 2D versus 3D, while barely making the phone thicker at all. And what that means is when the thing is unfolded, this is 3.6 millimeters thick. Obviously, it is easier to make things thinner when you have more space this way, but
it reminds me of some of those Vivo phones from his thinnest technology video.
3.6? I did a video a few years ago on the thinnest smartphone in the world, and that was 4.75. And the current iPhone is 8.3 for reference. It genuinely feels like some sort of sci-fi movie prop, and I can't quite believe this is a final product. You know where it really hits home just how slim this is when you realize that every single port, button, and cutout looks like it barely fits on the device. Not to mention that you can really—
It'd be really funny if they got a headphone jack to fit on there, which I think they could. 3.5. Maybe they could go down to 2.5. Old phones used to use 2.5 millimeter headphone jacks.
Hell, they've put some love into this design. Like, can you see this gold accent ring around the camera? Well, that is apparently hand-designed with almost 80 layers of stacked steel. Very much like, actually, those highly prized Damascus knives. And what it means is that every single phone looks just a little bit different, and that's cool. So
yeah, for like the 3 people that have the phone, I guess they can identify those from, the stuff that they have.
So, is this what foldable phones should have been like all along? Is this what Samsung should be making starting from next year? Well, it certainly looks that way on first glance. Because let's say that I'm using a normal bifold folding phone. I could use it in one hand like this, I could use it in 2 hands like this, or I could use it on a table in its half-folded state. But what can you do on this? Well, for starters, you've got the normal phone mode. You got the screen on the front, you got the camera on the back. This is effectively the same as using a normal folded phone, folded up. So then you open it up. And again, functionally at this—
I'm going to, wait, let's go back.
Same as using a normal folded phone, folded up. So then you open it up. And again—
let's see what kind of application we have here. Okay, we have, we have some messaging applications. I don't know what that blue one is. TikTok, which X. I don't really see the purpose of, TikTok on a phone like this. But whatever. I mean, you got the Chinese spy phone with the Chinese spy app, so.
And functionally, at this point, we are still identical with what you get with a normal folding phone. And also, like a normal folding phone, you can use the screen that's currently facing the back to allow the person you're shooting to see themselves, and also to allow you to take high-quality selfies using your phone's rear set of cameras.
Hey, you! Me? Yeah, you! Don't you want to play some—
Damn, that looks good. But then you get the third screen involved, and this is where you can start to do some very interesting stuff. Like, you can use 2 screens to watch what you're doing while using the third screen to angle your camera. You could actually have 2 screens to work on and then use the bottom screen folded up like that as a stand. And then you add this case—
I might scuff up the display there. And of course, it's $5,000 over in the UK, of course, with his earbuds. So.
Into the mix, which in itself already has a stand that can rotate to any angle that you want it to, and you start to think to yourself, I can use this phone however I can think to use this phone. This is what I mean when I say that the extra screen here is like the difference between 2D and 3D.
Also, you might be able to get some really good, camera shots from that thing. think places where you might be able to not be able to get with a normal phone.
The possibilities aren't just additive, they are multiplicative. And they've managed to do all of this without even sacrificing on the cameras. I mean, you can probably tell by the fact that this camera bump is half the thickness of the phone, but this is on the upper end of foldable phone cameras. And even though it is somewhat early days on the software, like not that many things are fully optimized for 3 screens, it does feel like they have thought about the user experience. Like, for example, when you want to unlock, the pin screen comes up on the side that you swipe up with. So this is interesting enough that yes, I would love to see what Samsung and Xiaomi and other foldable phone makers can do with this type of form factor. Because while it does create a number of issues in itself, they're all solvable. And what it
I hear that Samsung's making one.
does is it fixes the one big one and actually makes foldables useful for the masses. Now, that is not to say that Huawei gets a free pass, because while the trifold design could work, this specific attempt at one does not. I mean, the smaller issues are already something. There's the fact that, yes, there is absolutely a honeymoon phase with this, where you wake up every day with a spring in your step, you turn over to your phone, you open it, and you marvel at how on earth
I like how
Huawei
it's on the stand like that. I wonder if it has always on display and stuff like that.
this much device into 3.6 millimeters of thickness when unfolded. But as the days go on, you come to another realization, that because this thing is now twice as much effort to unfold, you're going to end up using it a lot more just like this. And when you use it
That just sounds like a lot of laziness.
folded up like this, you're basically just holding a brick phone that happens to weigh 300 grams. Because even though the thing isn't much thicker than normal phones, it's the hinges. Having to have 2 hinges on this means that a high
That would probably be light for me. I mean, I have a case on the back of my phone, so this thing probably weighs half a pound.
proportion of the device has to be made of densely compacted metal. And speaking of hinges, they don't fold both ways. So the front folds outwards, whereas the rear folds inwards. And if you get that wrong even once with a little too much pressure, well, it will still fold, just irreversibly. I've seen this happen enough times that I have decided I won't be the guy who tries it. And it ain't just the hinges, you also have to be very careful with the screen. Folding phone screens are much easier to scratch than normal phone screens. And
Jerry rig everything. Who has the absolute worst takes online? I mean, he should have just stayed at breaking phones. So, I guess to all the people who are watching here, I can be the next Jerry rig everything. Send me the phones, and my takes are absolutely 100 times better than the garbage that he posts online. All right, so that's just my message to all of you guys listening out there.
there are lots of situations when using this where you have to expose some part of this pressure screen to the elements. And on that note, how precious? Well, you know that I paid $5,000, which is obviously not the retail price of this thing. I managed to scalp one and sell it on eBay for profit price. But even the retail price in China, where it's mainly on sale, is $2,800 or $3,400 for the top spec model. And because this screen is such a unique component, the repair costs for this piece alone are $1,000. And even when you're not looking...
Z Fold 5 for $1,000. You can get 2 Z Fold 5s for the cost of what this costs right now. Let me check. Let's back check this. Z Fold 5. Z Fold 5 from Samsung Direct is $1,269. But if you want one refurbished, you can get a Z Fold 5 for $710 on back market. So yes, I'm wrong. You can get that 3-4 times over from Z Fold from Samsung. Come on.
After the screens, you're looking at the creases on them. Do you notice they're actually not the worst we've seen, but by no means invisible? Well, that's partly because when you add more hinges, you can't make each hinge as good. A good hinge that doesn't crease the display takes up valuable space. And since the entire priority here is to compress the design as much as possible, something's got to give. But as I was saying, all of these issues, potentially solvable. And to be fair, expected when you're trying something that's this different. None of this stuff makes this phone a write-off. There is a deeper Huawei problem. And I'm not even talking about the over 50 pre-installed apps, or the fact that if you want to do literally anything Google, you have to do it via one of these shady applications that try to convince Google you're not coming from a Huawei phone. Like, the most common one is Gbox, which signs into Google by identifying as a Samsung Galaxy A22. I know because got the email confirmation for it. Here's the thing. If you've watched any Huawei launch events recently, you'll have seen that Richard Yu, who leads them, keeps saying that Huawei is far ahead of its competitors. This company feels hyper
Typical Chinese propaganda.
aware of what Apple and Samsung are doing and wants to make it very publicly clear to Chinese citizens that those companies are slacking in comparison. And you might look at something like this and say, you know what? Actually, yeah, I don't see Samsung's trifold phone, even if they have already used the letter Z for a phone that looks nothing like a Z. Huawei is ahead. But I think the reason they're doing this is because this is all they can do. See, the Huawei US ban in 2019 completely crippled this company, cutting off access.
Well, they kind of had like a bump, and people was like, "Yeah, let's go, Huawei! You survived!" And then they crashed. Absolutely crashed.
Access to their suppliers from all around the world basically means that in some ways Huawei's tech has frozen in time. Like, look at this. The chip that powered Huawei's P10, this is their 2017 flagship phone, is based off a 16nm fabrication process. The lower that number, the better, because it basically means the chip is more efficient. So let's look at next year, the P20 Pro. Wow, huge improvement, 16nm all the way down to 10nm. And again with the next phone, the P30 Pro, 10nm all the way down to 7. But this is the year the US ban struck. And if you look at Huawei phones since then, in 5 years, they haven't actually managed to move past 7nm.
And yes, that's bad from a technological perspective, but people are using, and you guys can go check. You can check the top 50 applications in the Play Store. And it doesn't care if you're using a 16nm or a 32nm application. No one cares. No one cares about how many nanometers it uses for TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, or Gmail. The applications that we're using, and of course you can say, hey, efficiency, or, better camera performance. Yeah, it's incremental, but no one's really going to notice. The applications that we're using here, unfortunately, have not been optimized for better chips. The applications that we have here are just web portals. They just need to be built well so that they don't crash. That's it.
Now don't get me wrong, Huawei's chips have been refined since then. They are better, but it's just that the baseline tech is now far behind the rest of the world. And I think this is Huawei's way around that, to not really talk about the chips or the rest of the tech like the storage speeds that are also stuck in the past, but instead to try and come across like they're not behind but actually still ahead by creating a new design. Otherwise it might start to look like they're just releasing the same phones again and again. And clearly it's working. I mean, this thing has racked up over 7 million pre-orders in China alone. That's like Samsung flagship phone levels of performance. And it has people running around inside Apple stores doing this, whatever this is. But here's what this
That's obviously an ad.
dated China-focused tech actually means. So let's try opening up Call of Duty Warzone. Okay. Yeah, that's actually completely dead on the loading screen. Okay, let's try a different game. So this one boots up, but it's pretty clear that this isn't designed for running top-tier modern applications well on a screen like this. And that's not even talking about the battery, which is...
That's a top-tier application? It looks like a game that was played on an iPhone 4 in 2014.
Actually quite good for a phone at 5,600 milliamp hours, but bad for a tablet. It's like half of the capacity that you would expect. So, even though you have to give credit to Huawei for releasing this, not even as a slightly janky concept phone, but a genuinely usable consumer-grade product, I still wouldn't actually recommend anyone ditch their normal bar phone. It's still got that slightly stuck in the middle of two things and does neither particularly well syndrome, which is probably why the initial frenzy of everyone buying the things up to resell them at twice the price is starting to cool down rather quickly now.
Let's be honest though, the main reason people are buying this phone is to flex on people. Literally.
All right, so yeah, that's the trifold phone. What do you guys think about it after that being, Chinese spyware and propaganda for the Chinese Communist Party? All right, but from a technological perspective, it does seem interesting as well. All right, what else do we have to talk about? Oh, I guess we can go into NotebookLLM again. Like we said, that we're going to talk about SSA LTW. Unfortunately, the questions are still in there again, and we're going to be using it for something good, not something useless over there trying to. Oh my goodness, Project 2025. Shut up. All right. Those Redditors. I asked a question on Reddit, and it didn't go well for me. So, Redditors, or most Redditors, first of all, Reddit is the cesspool of idiots, and most Redditors are, they're not that smart. Like Bixby is smarter than them. No, I'm not talking to you, Bixby. But yes, Bixby herself is smarter than them. So let's go over to NotebookLLM. I've put in the sources. This is from October 12th. So, shut up, Bixby. There we go. I have not put in the latest article. I have not put in the latest article from SSA LTW. But let's go into some questions here. We're gonna find out how much Notebook LLM knows about the SSA LTW series. So here you go. Unfortunately, all the questions that we asked in it were gone, but here we go. All right, let's see. All right, let's start off with an easy question. Who was the 2023 president? Who was president in 2023? All right, here we go. The sources mentioned the school president, but not a U.S. president. Okay. Allison was the president of Glory Christian Academy in 2023. He seemed to have left the school towards the end of the year. The source did not mention who the U.S. president was. All right, great. Congratulations. So it is able to answer pretty simple questions like that. It did get tripped up on who the 2022 president was because that was only mentioned like once. The name in the book is Lily. But let's see if it can explain the differences between SSA and GCAM foreign policy. And I was thinking about this today, and this might become an article over on SSA LTW. About how if GCAM, existed, well, GCAM. If GCAM and SSA, if the GCAM intelligence operation was better than the SSA intelligence operation, or was more focused, because we're setting up GCAM to be a bit more isolationist, in SSA to be more globalist, more open, I guess you'd say. Of course, and so and GCAM is a bit more, I guess it's kind of weird. They're kind of like more close, but they're also kind of more split together, split off from each other. So that there's not much intelligence collection or distribution in and of itself. And I've been like talking about that and thinking about that. Like, what if the intelligence services was better? Maybe they might have gone into JVN and had more intel on them. Of course, the one of the key points of the story that's about to pop up is how SSA wants the intelligence deal with GCAM. Of course, they don't get that, and it kind of sparks a bit of conflict. So stay tuned there. We're still in December, November. We still have some more of the note articles to get into. We had the press conference articles where we said that what's your name, Molly, isn't fit to stand behind the steal of GCA presidency. Of course, unfortunately, that is obviously a very, very obvious reference. But NotebookLLM isn't able to pick up on those references themselves, so I have to go in and tell you each of all what references are. But let's get into what SSA versus GCAM foreign policy is. Of course, SSA foreign policy is very, lined out. Of course, the Battle of the Goldfish, protecting Denver, anti-Crust, anti-Riz, Rizway. We even have the Constitution on here, so that's good. Also, the good Christian strategy as well. So let's go. Let's see what Notebook LLM can do. And this is just a demonstration of what notes can do. What notes can do. All right, let's go. For like real notes. All right, here we go. Wow. And see these bubbles here. This is how it sources from the documents in them of themselves. And it looks like it's doing a good job, and I'm going to tell you if this is accurate or not. So let's look into GCAM versus SSA foreign policy. SSA favors a direct interventionist approach, often employing espionage, counterintelligence, and strategic alliances to direct interests and maintain order. GCAM, formed through the Great Split, appears to favor a more isolationist approach. Right, so great. I told you about that. SSA is more direct interventionist, GCAM is more isolationist, and it directly sorts that from the from the documents 1, 2, and 3. All right, peace through strength, SSA. Exemplifies to SSA will lead the way. Counterterrorism, yes. Strategic alliances, yes. Denver Student Council, all right. And then it gives examples of SSA being more interventionist. Operation Shadow 2.0, which is one of the most recent stories when Mali and Val attacked Siena, and of course SSA gets directly involved in that situation, and then they do give a press conference at the end. It's not uploaded to this thing yet, but we can go read through the press conferences if you guys want to go see that. All right. And then it says it gives some more operations, countering cross attacks, defense of Denver. The battle of the Goldfish. When it gives an example of when Denver's bag is stolen and the perpetrators are held accountable in sources 13, 18, 19, and 20. Now, when you look at GCAM isolation, there's not that much information about GCAM isolationism in here. There's wealth of information in GCAM, but on GCAM in here, but it's building up. And you see limited engagement. So it says they're less inclined to direct intervention of conflicts. It doesn't really give an example here because, there are no confidence that they really directly intervene except for, the GCAM, JP, and Proxy War. All right, the information control, they can contain a tight grip of information using this as leverage and this dealing with SSA. This referencing, of course, the information deal that SSA wanted to get. And that's the source of the thing here. It says that GCAM primary goal seems to be focused on student social policies, influencing dancers and events like social gatherings. That is slightly correct. Of course, this is a view of GCAM, but not the GCAM view of GCAM themselves. So, if you were to go, ask them, I don't think they'd say that their job was, social strategy or intervention in and of itself, but maybe the document itself tends to say that. All right, then we talk about the Great Split, limited participation in student government, of course, the absence there, and then you talk about the tension between them, SA and GCAM aligned, conflicting priorities, and stuff like that. And then you have the GNN collaboration and stuff like that. So I think this answer will get even more correct over time as more documents are uploaded to NotebookLLM. This reminds me, I need to go upload that because I am not copying and pasting the entire website anymore. All right, now let's do more advanced note here. The most advanced one would be giving a correct timeline of events because, as you guys know, it starts off November 9th, 2022, which is actually coming up again. Maybe I'll release the tapes. I might release the tapes. November 9th, 2022. And then it kind of jumps into 2023, and then it kind of jumps back to 2014-esque, 2015, 2016, 2019. Of course, In the Wild. That should be reference. I need to put In the Wild into. Yeah, that's a good theme song. All right. And then it jumps back into 2023, and then it's going to jump into 2024 soon. So it spans almost 10 years. So creating a correct timeline of events is kind of hard. So let's go into the 2022 election. All right. All right. And as it's generating here, I like the answer it gave last time. Wow, it's still generating. So when it generates a long time, it does take some time. I do wish this thing worked offline. I mean, it is using data based on stuff that you provide to it, not data that's based from the internet. So it probably has a limited amount of tokens to use. Let's go here. So it says the sources describe the 2022 student council election from the perspective of Ethan. It says that there was a violation of election rules, joke campaigns, and of course bribes. And then it does say that the sources are single subjective and not objective. So it does kind of give a split answer on that. I prefer more of a leaning yes answer. All right, hey Elijah, he comes into here. He says he just got done with the competition in Nashville, so he's walking on campus right now. Okay, so Elijah, I'll just put it into the chat. We are talking about SSA-LTW. All right, there you go. So welcome, Elijah. All right, so I guess it's say more right, less right, stuff like that. But it hasn't really done anything wrong here. So let's see if it can get the timeline question right. All right, let's say generate a timeline of from 2014 to 2023. All right, and I guess we can ask some more questions about Molly and Val next, and see what it thinks about their reign of terror and how SSIA perceives them as well. So let's see as it's generating on the screen. Hope you guys can see it. It's taking some time here. What are we asking again? Oh yeah, we asked it for a timeline. Timeline was the hardest question, and I'm going to see if it's correct. All right. Ooh, wow, it's pretty long. All right, 2014, Ethan Wild. First thing wrong. I don't believe he's ever been called Ethan Wild, but this thing has, hope he catch some errors. So I'll have to go back and check. It says, but yes, that is correct. Fall 2014. Uh, and then it jumps to 2019. It did try to. Last time I asked this question, I asked insert some stuff about 2015 and stuff like that. But the jump to 2019 is mostly fine, right? Then we talked about Liberty Prep, Nika, and then November 9th, 2019, I think it gets November 9th, 2019, because the space race, the USSR stuff, is actually in February of 2020-ish. So I don't know I think it's confusing, 9th, 2019 to 22. And then you have November 9th, 2022, where we have the press conference. Of course, that is a key pivotal event. It's the first article on the website. We have the post-election in 2022, which also it goes into 2023. We have an article about that where we kind of split back in time. Of course, this is when we're talking about President Allison might be leaving the school. All right. So we kind of time jumps back in. All right, August 2023. We have the campaign. We have the Rizway Operation Friendship. Operation Friendship is actually initiated kind of like in October around the time of Stolen Bag. So this is wrong. Though it does get the facts correct that it is inspired by Vincent Odyssey episode 2's Company Force a Crowd. Of course, you go look at the radio date. That was aired in October as well. And it says it features Emily, a character who investigates crime and utilizes technology. Yeah, sure, that is Emily and Susan. All right, September 2023, Ethan and Denver form an alliance. Yes. And then he gets on to Stugo. Yes, the Battle of the Goldfish. Yeah, I think so. And GNN, that was more of an October thing, but sure. CSM, yes. Operation Shadow 2.0. No, Operation Shadow 2.0 is in December. All right, October 2023. Of course, we have the failed homecoming thing. Yes, that's true. Ethan develops Nika doctrine. No, Nika doctrine was was developed previously and just being utilized in 2023 apparently. And then we analyzed the stuff like this: GCA War Game, Valerie Hazel, and Denver, and then Denver's bag is stolen. And then the Great Split. Of course, this is explicitly referenced, I believe, as November 17th, 2023. New student group GCAM forums comprised of influential students in various grades. Of course, I think it's going to nail the GCAM stuff all the time because GCAM is mentioned. All right, Ethan says that Elijah says that he's going to watch maybe tomorrow. All right, great. Of course, GCAM is mentioned in almost every article since from November, even not parody, but foreshadowed in October, even September. So yeah, I think it should get GCAM correct. Ethan drafts a new constitution for SSA. Yes, sure, we'll give it to that. SSA expresses concern for the potential of President Addison to leave the school, and then you have a chaotic student council meeting between SSA and Mali, and then you have stuff like that. So, yeah, actually that's the best thing it's done so far. And just before we finish this NotebookLLM experiment, of course, using it for its intended purpose and not useless stuff like those stupid redditors were using it for. Let's ask about the I don't know, like Ethan and SSA's on Ethan and SSA's view on Val and Molly, and if Val and of course, I think it might have more explicit answers once I ask this question for the next thing, because basically Molly gets ripped into in the press conference article. I still need to have a image generated for that, so I might be able to get into that. All right. So here is here's what it says. Let's see if it's correct. Of course, she kind of gets introduced, of course, when she nukes Hazel. So it says Val is depicted as a powerful figure within the school social hierarchy, capable of significantly damaging a student's reputation, unpredictable and aggressive. Of course, it uses. I like how it uses direct quotations from the text itself. Uses described as volatile and prone to aggressive tactics. It cites an example of how she stalled math class, asking simple Bible questions, and demonstrating willingness to disrupt normalcy. This text here in itself was generated by AI itself. All right, a friable relationship with SSA. Of course, friable was a word coined by SSA. In and of itself, SSA acknowledges Val's intelligence and its potential for stopping threats. Kind of like United States, Pakistan, or India relations, something like that. All right. But the views are a rival combination of a friend and rival. It's nice that it was able to infer that. I think, and that's in the text itself. All right. And then we have Molly, the physical aggression. She's portrayed as physically aggressive. Of course, we have the shoe smacking stuff. Then the association with Val and the alliance is seen as a potential threat to the school, and limited political influence in the school. And then we need to get into the nature of the Mali Val alliance. Is that there's an unequal power dynamic. Here potential is, as I say, destabilization. And the alliance in of itself here. I would have liked some more of the stuff, especially about Mali. I mean, we had an entire paragraph, November 30th, student council episode, where she literally admits on tape, in the episode about talking about throwing a hydro flask at someone in the head. Now, I didn't say if it was filled or not, but as you guys know, hydro flasks are metal. So I would think that throwing metal at someone in the head would be important. All right, so that's all we're going to do for